What's the bigger crime in ARAM? Being the person to end the game or taking exhaust?
Taking exhaust is highly illegal in ARAM. Not taking flash and snowball is just like, you're not even playing for fun at that point.
I think taking exhaust. You're not allowed to take exhaust. You have to take flash and the snowball. No matter what champion you're playing, guys.
Exhaust for sure is the bigger crime in ARAM.
Being the person to end the game, to be honest. Yeah, you're just cringe if you do that.
Definitely ending the game in ARAM is kind of like, it's kind of try hard. Especially when like everyone wants to keep playing and someone just ends the game. It's definitely that one.
Ending the game when your team wanna play one more fight.
Taking exhaust.
Taking exhaust is a complete crime.
Well, taking exhaust, of course. Winning is winning, but taking exhaust.
Welcome back to the LCS, where we're going to see if NRG can kind of fight back against.
They've got it in them.
That was a pretty crushing loss. I actually don't necessarily think it was like draft dependent, right? I think more,
not at all,
especially on the lines that we've been talking about NRG, it was much more about execution.
I'd say 100% execution. They can not do that again, so let's get into it and see if they actually do make some draft changes as well, though. K'Sante, #1, first draft change right there.
Yeah,
big one.
Get rid of that. He's pretty good.
They're like, we can't dive him.
Hard to dive a K'Sante.
That was probably the toughest one, is that like, if you have both Senna and Kalista and a Zhao, my god, is that Poppy dying level 1? But K'Sante, once he hits level 2 and he's full HP, they felt like it was really tough.
He's just sitting there.
He's just sitting there. So, yeah, that's a decent change. I'm interested in whether or not Senna's going to be let through again, because I didn't expect Senna to be even available for a first pick. A lot of the pro players going into this week had believed both Azir and Senna was one of the strongest picks.
At least definitely don't ban Senna on blue side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here. Let's see. Okay, the Seraphine instead.
Seraphine ban coming through.
Which is interesting. I know that Seraphine was a pick into like a Kalista, Renata. So maybe they're expecting, if they're going to go into a draft where they're picking a Braum, they're picking a Renata, they don't want the Seraphine to be the response.
And we see Senna going down on Dig side. I wonder if NRG will go for something like an Ashe first pick. They've already done that a lot previously in the season, but then also I just think she's really, really strong, can fit into a lot of different compositions. Nope, Rumble.
Wow, so they keep going back to the Rumble again, even though they've lost so many games with Rumble. For Dhokla, they still invest their first pick there, and then in the process, then you're giving up the Ashe plus the Azir pick that we keep talking about the buffs on this patch.
Yeah, and I like this from Dig a lot, right? You secure the Ashe, you secure Jensen's Azir. Again, we talked about how much this patch has changed, how much better specific mages are, including Azir, who was already seeing play, honestly, before the 14-16 buffs. The response from Palafox will be Corki, so ye old classic.
Yep.
Corki Azir.
Straight back to
I gotta tell you, I'm not feeling inspired right now, guys.
No.
NRG have done this exact opener many times already.
Well, what's gonna make you inspired? What changes do you need to see?
What would inspire you?
In the waiting room, I threw out some kind of crazier options that are not frequently played right now, like the Galio, you know, hard engage with Nocturne, with Camille, something like that.
True.
But I don't even need that much, you know. Even as something like I guess the Syndra buffs are really small, but stuff like that for Palafox.
Well, I'm disregarding that. We gave you a Jhin. So how do you feel about that?
We got Jhin plus Corki plus Rumble. So we need some more frontline for NRG, some engage, somebody to keep them in place for this Rumble ultimate if they actually want to get value out of it. NRG's win rate with Rumble is actually pretty abysmal as a team. Hey, we get the Skarner I talked about. Hey, I get one.
But is it going top or jungle?
It is Licorice. So Licorice is this like love affair with Skarner. So it is disproportionately higher a top lane Skarner on Dignitas than any other team. I would say any other team in the freaking world right now. The other ones are more likely to play jungle, but Licorice himself, he really does have a lot of faith in this champ, even though it's not the best lane phase into Rumble. You just provide so much frontline utility for your team. And this is the recipe for Dignitas, is set yourselves up with a nice team fight, have some really sturdy, you know, front to back options and play to comfort.
Yeah, and I think it's also worth noting it was against NRG that Licorice played the Skarner, and that was pre the buffs on this patch as well.
Yeah.
The Xin taken out
The
by
Leona
NRG.
needed to be banned.
Yeah,
Like, that
Leona, great setup for Jhin.
Yeah, Jhin doesn't have a lot of great pairings. Braum sounds like an awful pairing in general, even if it's double AD carry, and also you're going up against Azir to begin with. They're going to be the ones banning the Braum away from Dignitas' side. So now if you're NRG side and you're thinking about another, like a front line that could really do it for you, perhaps Rel could be the pick for how much Huhi has been, you know, performing on the pick, and it does set up for a Rumble ulti. So expect that to be the option here.
Yeah, especially with, I was going to say, oh, Maokai would be great setup, but no, it was banned for it. From Dig, which is also good. The Vi is up. And Spica is going to lock it in. So I really like what Dig are bringing out in this right side draft.
On a scale of hard engage to no engage, Dignitas are a 10 out of 10 for hardness. Like Ashe Arrow.
Honestly, looking at this draft,
that was a Raz huh?
That was definitely a Raz huh.
I'm the same hemisphere when I see Dignitas' draft right now, personally. So, great draft from Dig. Sejuani is a good option when you wanted frontline from NRG. The fourth one, like my heart is telling me Rel. I'm interested in what they're actually going to show us here.
Yeah, I do think just generally on the whole, historically, Sejuani has been a really good pick for Contractz. Maybe he can play around some of these lanes with it.
I mean, so here's how I see it. NRG, they invest really early, draft resources, this Rumble, into this top lane to be winning top lane. But are you going to win the game through that? Dignitas are saying, no, you are certainly not going to. Licorice has already shown that he can play Skarner pre-buffs, as you said, into Dhokla and especially into the Rumble and lose a few CS top lane. And then they're going to have Ashe Arrow, Skarner follow-up, Vi engage as well. It's just, and you throw a Nautilus on top of it. It's just comical how many options they have. It's like Dignitas can throw out 2 of their ultimates and they will still have plenty of hard engage to be able to force these team fights. So the only real question is, will they have the damage? And as long as Jensen has a decent lane phase, then they should. But that's the only real question.
Yeah, I think that is the big thing, right? It still comes down to execution, but I feel like Dig have a lot of answers to what NRG has locked in. We will see what the casters think as we get into game 2.
Thank you so much, Emily. And listen, we saw the Dhokla Rumble first pick lock-in, and Jatt has some things to say.
They are tripling, quadrupling. I don't know what the word for 7 things in a row is down on this Rumble because there was a point in this season where NRG picked Rumble 5 games in a row and lost all of them. Then they did it again in their elimination game against FlyQuest and lost. It is Dhokla's most played champion this split, and they are winless with it. And then in this series, they first pick it for top lane, give away priority picks in Azir and Ashe in mid and bot, which put those lanes at a disadvantage. They are so locked into making this Rumble work, and if it doesn't work, their season is going to be over.
That's rough.
That is very rough.
And it could work. It is a globally very high presence champion, 80% presence, 65% win rate. It has not worked for them at all.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things where you have to think it's working for them in scrims, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, they just wouldn't keep going back to it. Or maybe they're looking at those games and saying, you know what, it wasn't the fault of Rumble. This went wrong and that went wrong. It's hard to know, but for whatever reason, it is not working at all for them. Has the Rumble on the match history for sure. We'll see if they can turn it around. Because Dig also has, I think, a pretty tough comp to play Rumble into. There is a tremendous amount of CC.
Yeah. Well, on the sidelines, we do have Raz with an interview with ThinkGuard.
What's up? That is right. I got ThinkGuard here. Just coming off of last game. Just any assessment off the last game, large advantage Dignitas had with the lane swap, and also just any learnings you had from it?
I mean, I'm not sure. Against FlyQuest, we also our brains didn't really work game 1 either. So good news is against FlyQuest, we bounced back and won game 2. So it is something that we've done before. So it's unfortunate that in game 1 we never really got to play.
That's fair enough. And Just looking at your composition now, we have both the Rumble and the Bard pickups. Really interesting one. And also, just kind of comment on what we're seeing right now just from your team, both Dhokla and Contractz looking through mid.
Yeah, so the Bard is something that you can kind of play with these types of compositions because once you're showing Vi, you have a lot of hard engage, and Bard is very good at disrupting that type of follow-up. So a lot of teams do play Bard in these situations. It's going to come down to whether we can use our mobility and the fact that we have such long-range tools to really punish them, like between objectives and on mid waves.
I appreciate you. Thank you for that one. I'll send it straight to the casters. Thank you, guys.
I like how ThinkHard dodged the other question from Raz, like, hey, what are Contractz and Dhokla doing here? So the Bard is, looking for disrupting the backline engage. To be fair, they were both questions asked in the same kind of turn of phrase. But for Dignitas...
Hit him with the double question.
Yeah. Tactfully only answer one of them.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, we saw what it was. It was just that leash from Dhokla. I think they were unsure if it was going to be a lane swap potentially, so he was kind of just sitting around mid lane so he could maybe move to the correct lane, and ended up not being a lane swap, so he just helped leash and then went right up to top. We'll see if he's going to be able to get any sort of an advantage up there. Palafox obviously having push on Jensen here early on, but Jensen, again, going to be on one of those mages, playing Comfort, is playing PTA this time, which is something that's getting mixed in. It just feels like on a lot of these champions, you can kind of just go random and click any of the damage runes, and it's fine.
Yeah. It's a bit of a dealer's choice. I will say the early game is already much better than it was in game 1 for NRG. Nobody's died yet. There's been no failed dive.
You're not wrong, but that's
I like
also
how
very
that's
mean.
the standard. No one has died yet.
On top of this, they actually have 3 lanes of prio, which is allowing the Sejuani to invade Spica's Vi. And it looks like there was a smite fight over the blue buff that Contractz didn't get, but they still hold this prio, so Contractz
has smite.
Is going to try and steal this wolf away, and maybe even a Vi as well.
Got the smite down on the wolf camp. Contractz cannot disrespect Sejuani skirmishing, but Spica using that blast shield gets himself out alive.
Yeah, and that's the thing is when you have prio, even if they win the first smite fight on that defense, you just follow them to the next camp, right? And he still has his smite. So yes, he got the smite on the first camp. Contractz just holds his smite, pushes him out of his own jungle. Maybe Spica could win that 1v1 in an extended play because once Sejuani uses the upfront damage, you kind of have nothing, but it doesn't matter because Bard is coming, because FBI is coming. It's never going to be that fair fight.
And they've already warded this bot crab while holding prio in top and mid. So I don't know if Contractz is going to contest this since he does have all 3 camps bot to clear, but they have complete eyes on Spica now as he tries to secure this crab and only having what looks to be like 4 camps down.
Yeah, he'll have to then cross back towards bot, like just do the Gromp.
Through another ward.
Unless he tries to go top. And if he goes top, it's actually way worse for him because he's fully warded out. So Dhokla should just be able to back off and waste even more of his time. Dhokla knows that he is here. If he dies to this, this is
inexcusable.
I mean, the Q lands onto Dhokla. He's got help with Huhi arriving, and they turn the gank around, throwing up the white flag emote, first blood.
Yeah, really well done. So he tries to bait it in. Huhi's making the roam up, so Dhokla felt confident that he could survive the initial play. They had vision of it. They knew it was happening. Huhi makes the roam, has the summoner heal as well to help keep Dhokla alive. Drops the little Coco there as well. They are able to get first blood. Unfortunately, it went to Huhi. That kind of sucks, but still nicely done.
And Contractz is here on the bottom side of the map, knowing that Zven and Isles would want to go for the 2v1 all-in on the FBI. It's a trade of flashes for the jungler versus the AD carry.
Such a smooth early game so far from NRG, playing the prio into the top gank, into the cover bot lane, and just winning these small trades. Then...
Ooh.
That was close. He probably could have traded flashes for sure there with Jensen, because if you flash, Jensen basically has to flash that. If you get bound, you're dead.
Yep.
But elects not to do so. Was probably hoping that he could get the flash without having to commit his own.
Yeah.
But Huhi, nice and active on the map. And you just love to see when teams really understand, where they're going to be strong on the map, where they're going to be weak on the map. Huhi goes top to cover. So then, as you said, Contractz is going to go bot to actually cover there, because that's where the natural counterplay will come in. So this is very well played here so far by NRG, and they're out to a 1,000 gold lead here, only 5 minutes in. So the shoe on the other foot for sure in this one.
And now we ask the question again. Since Dignitas had their best early game in game 1 as a result of NRG mis-executing a lot of those moves in the early game, what does Dignitas do now when NRG is actually executing correctly?
And this has been one of the Achilles heels of Dignitas, is answering the question of who is the playmaker or who is supposed to create action on this team. I'd say compositionally, it's the CC that lands from the bottom lane, and they're the best lane to potentially play through. And then Spica, because he's been set behind, needs to hit level 6 before he can do anything. So it's a bit of a tricky situation.
Isles was flashing in, but Dhokla on the bottom side of the map with the equalizer will burn Isles to a crisp. And Zven is forced off of the fight, bailing out FBI and Huhi.
This was actually a really surprising roam there from Dhokla. He just headed straight bot, used that prio top to run down here. It did get pretty dicey, but at the end of the day, they do get the kill, and they're going to be able to zone Zven off, because Zven used his barrier, used his flash. He cannot catch this wave whatsoever. So then Dhokla just TPs back up towards top.
Yeah.
And Spica warded out, so won't be able to get anything. So this is really well done here by Dhokla. You know, doesn't get that extra kill that maybe he would have wanted, but just holds the TP, walks spot, uses that prio, TP's back top after helping them get a kill, end of play, and denying some farm.
One step ahead this entire game. That was exactly the moment where Dig was going to try and make something happen, and Dhokla, as you mentioned, loses almost nothing for that. So even though they're winless with the Rumble, he's making it work in this game.
Yeah, just look at where the wave is top, right? So this wave right here that he has set up topside, he's not really going to lose anything from it. You know, Licorice is TPing back towards top lane, so he knows there's not going to be any sort of an answer on this play. So that's why they're trading so heavily into these minions here, baiting them in. Then the equalizer gets dropped. Zven cannot walk through that. He is going to be able to get away. Unfortunately, the flash is committed. Can't actually tag him with that Electro Harpoon. Otherwise, it could have been another kill. But they get the barrier, they get the kill, they get the plate. They deny a full wave from Zven. And he loses maybe like 3 minions on top side because the wave was stacked and had to be pushed out from Licorice. Then he just TPs back the answer. So that's great stuff from Dhokla on a pick that has not been successful for them.
Now Contractz is here to further accelerate the lead for FBI and Huhi on the bottom side of the map, protecting them as they crash this big wave. Contractz is level 6. They're going to take out the tower with the Tempered Fate so he can go for an easy Glacial Prison onto the flashless Zven. FBI and Huhi brute forcing their way through Isles, and Zven is no longer in this world. Now Palafox is coming in to help the cause. 4-man dive onto one. Isles is going to try to stall with that Death Charge, but it will be all for naught as Palafox picks up a kill as well.
Really good stuff here from NRG. This is looking like a blowout the other way. It's not as extreme as last game was, but still good map movement, nice roams, good coordination and handling of the dive. Palafox even gets down there to help out. Yeah, he's going to lose a little bit. We'll see if Jensen can kind of keep him away from this wave, but it doesn't look like it.
It's actually kind of close. Last game, I think, was 2.9K at 8-minute lead for
got the cannon.
And now it's a 2,500 gold lead at 9 minutes. They still will need to continue to execute, but in terms of the fear of NRG being completely mental boomed after that game 1, that's gone because they're coming out and everything's going the way of NRG here.
Well, Licorice is really playing a risky situation. The wave is in a bad spot. He needs to leave. Yeah. And he has no TP.
And look at the squad that's coming up here. So if he stays, he's dead. If he leaves, he loses a full wave at least.
Huhi's going to stop him. He won't be able to kill him, but he's going to delay the base even more. So that's going to be even more annoying. There's no TP available, so it's not even like Jensen can come up top to try to cover. Licorice can't come up top to try to cover. So they are trading turret plates down on the bot side. But Isles has left bot, so it is just going to be the Ashe racing against the 3. So NRG should have the edge up here on that top side, even though Jhin is absolutely awful at killing towers.
Unfortunate for them, but for NRG, they're going to get a lot of gold on their side through this top lane and continuing to play through Dhokla's Rumble. The fact that their confidence in this pick has completely unwavered through all the stats that we've seen throughout regular season and playoffs. Maybe this is what they've been seeing results in scrims.
Practice makes perfect, man. If at first you don't succeed,
lose is improved.
Try and try and try and try and try and try and try again.
There you go.
And it's going to eventually work for you.
Eventually it'll get there. Well, now what does Dignitas do? Because they still have the benefit of having a lot of go buttons on their side, so they can always force engages, but they just need to make sure that they are picking the right fights and not getting completely isolated as Licorice is going to skate through the wall, flash his Electro Harpoon, but that sets him up for an easy target of the Glacial Prison into the Tempered Fate. He's going to stall time with the Impale, but surely he goes down to the last bullet of FBI.
That was honestly pretty well done from Licorice, trying to buy as much time as he could. I thought maybe he had a chance to get out when the Glacial Prison actually got Bard ulted, unfortunately, but still, NRG sent enough members there. One thing that is going to be working for Zven is he's going to be getting solo gold on the bot side, so he'll likely be able to cash in on that turret down on bot lane, but FBI has picked up a couple early kills. The Jhin is getting very far ahead, and this game's starting to spiral here. Dignitas just needs to slow down the pace of the game, try to play a little bit defensive, because they do still have so many pick tools and they have good scaling.
Yeah, it's going to be 6 grubs as well, though. And the tricky thing here is I actually feel like Dig is trying to slow the game down, but that's leaving these massive map gaps where NRG can just camp 4 people top lane and dive Licorice at will. It's because the Azir is not making aggressive plays, the Ashe Nautilus isn't applying pressure, and NRG is playing really well.
And I'd also say, just Huhi and Contractz have been right place, right time, and Spica and Isles have not been there to cover, right? They have not been responding to these plays, responding to these moves that are being made by their opponents, and it does feel like, as a result, NRG is often having that extra man. You can see a lot of the first item completions coming through there. We just saw the Shiv bot up, the Triforce is completed.
Yep.
We have the Zeke's purchased. So a lot of these items now completed all at the same time here for NRG. And they are spiking at a very good time.
Next objective will not be for another 4 minutes on the bottom side of the map, but the Rift Herald is spawning in under 2 minutes. We're going to see how well NRG are able to swamp their lane assignments over to the top side of the map, because at this point you want to just strangle Dignitas out of this game. You don't want to give them a way back in with that late game scaling insurance from Jensen Azir, who, despite the side lanes collapsing on both ends of the map, he is still remaining constant and steadfast. Jensen might be the target though. Tempered Fate does land. Can he find the Cosmic Binding? He does flash it, but Contractz and FBI are also here. The Deadly Flourish lands. Here comes the Curtain Call, and I was going to try to block it, and nice stun from downtown as FBI's Curtain Call is cut short.
The assault's coming from absolutely everywhere. Dignitas has to just defend for their lives here. They do not suffer a fatality in that engagement, just trying to make it until I'd say they can get 2 core items on everyone. The one thing that they can hold on to is the fact that they have 2 Drakes, so NRG wouldn't have a soul threat that soon, but they're threatening everything else.
Yeah, and I mean, Dignitas is just trying to overload that bot side to keep them away from the tower, because with 6 grubs, it gets so difficult, and also that bot lane tier 1 is so low that Dignitas wants to pick up that gold, but Isles just based, and now Jensen is stuck out.
He tries to slink away, but cannot escape the Winter's Wrath. Contractz picks up another kill.
Another one going the way of NRG. Isles was playing behind him, but either thought he was safe at that point or thought that Jensen was also going to be backing off Isles' bases. Jensen does not and ends up getting caught out for another kill. And now, bad kind of going to worse here.
And what a tale of 2 games. So this is actually a stat that we had before the series. In terms of every NRG member, the highest correlation for winning or losing is actually whether or not Huhi is ahead or behind. When he's in a good state or when he's doing good things, everything does seem to click for NRG. This is last game was an extreme example where he was down 3,000 gold at the Senate.
Yeah.
This game, he is about 1,000 gold ahead of Isles, but I think it's more about the goal being a result of the plays that have been successful and how much that brings to the rest of NRG's team. So just watching Huhi and his impact on Bard, this one is really completely different than game 1.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot about him on range supports as well that is helping him get that gold lead, and maybe that's something that just works for them. The Bard this game, I also went back and was looking at the games that he did have these gold leads, and a lot of it was playing like Ashe and playing Senna and playing, double range bot lanes and these types of things where they could push and could create these advantages, where I think he's more unlocked on the map, like we see this lane.
As now he's going to try to threaten Licorice, who is forced to flash again, but the Glacial Prison locks him down. The Tempered Fate is going to make sure the turret does not deter them from getting the kill on the top side of the map. This tier 2 turret is also going to fall. And Dignitas on the other side of the map, they're trying to get whatever objectives they can.
Yeah, they do get the tier 1 finally, so Jensen grabs that. He's pushing up towards the tier 2. Of course, Corki's going to be able to get down there to answer, so Jensen won't really be able to threaten it, but now it is a 5,000 gold lead.
It's so weird. I'm going to make up a stat request that is very difficult to fulfill.
Yeah.
But in the same series, the total goal difference at 14 across game 1 and game 2, because basically
that is a weird stat.
NRG was down like 6,000 gold at 14 in last game, and now they're up 5,000 gold. So that 10,000 gold difference between game 1 and game 2, It's got to be some kind of record.
I mean, it is crazy. Sometimes you do have these series where it's a best of 5. It goes all 5 games, but all 5 games are stomps.
Yep.
You know, and it can be really back and forth, but in a weird way. And it's about, you know, who can kind of create the advantages, who can be able to snowball it from there.
Yeah, but like, what's more than a stomp? Because these have been absolute murders. Like both of these 2 games.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
At like 10 minutes, it seems like there's no doubt who's going to win both of these games, and they're different teams both times.
Yeah, now the trick is, Spica might be in trouble. Oh, he got interrupted on his Q thanks to the Arctic Assault from Contractz. He's forced to flash away. The Permafrost stuns him, but he's still out alive. And I want to continue that point, Jatt, because at least in game 1, after the murder occurred from Dignitas' side against NRG, then NRG got back up and they're like, hey, we're going to try and see if we can create any plays after 20 minutes and see if we can get back in this game. There were a couple. It didn't win them the game, but they at least got the mental win that they were still being competitive despite being down that much gold. Can Dignitas do the same? I don't think so at this point, but Jensen managing to survive before he finally burns down to the equalizer. The tier 2 turret falls thanks to the siege of NRG, and now the rest of Dignitas are just getting absolutely cooked by Dhokla's Rumble, and the rest of NRG continue the onslaught. Nice Cosmic Binding locks Licorice down, and NRG don't lose a single man.
They have been so active this entire game, always pushing the pace against Dignitas. 8,000 gold now at 17 minutes, another completely one-sided fight.
Yeah, it's just showing, you know, it's all about the execution in this series. NRG does have a bounce back game, and I think critically, again, Palafox is having another solid performance, and he's looking strong. Yeah. He really has been the most important part to a lot of this team's success. So seeing him have 2 back-to-back good games is really nice. And again, just aggressive play after aggressive play. They start the dive here. They're able to delay things a little bit with the Bardal onto Contractz, shuts off the tower, resets the aggro onto him, which was quite nice. And then they just get in and they're just slamming him over the head with the wallet. It is a gold diff at this point. You know, Zven is free firing, but he just doesn't really have enough in the tank to turn it around.
Yeah, you can see Zven hitting Palafox with several auto attacks there and really not seeming to do any damage, just the static shiv. So, I at this point, Azael, I have no idea what's going to happen in this series. I had some level of idea.
Rumble again.
Palafox, like 100 autos.
Yeah. That's what it's looking like, man.
Yep.
When you get behind
Accurate
as
assessment.
an ADC, it's like you have a pea shooter. That thing feels awful.
He doesn't even have Tabby or anything. He's just got Merc Treads.
He's got a Triforce. He's got some HP.
I don't know what to make of this series anymore.
Well, it's going to be
whoever
kind of
gets
a reset,
the
right?
early lead, yeah.
And I would also say NRG bounced back from getting super stomped in game 1 very, very well. The question is going to become, can Dignitas do the same in the next game, right? You know, how is their mental going to be doing? Because the expectation versus reality for this Dig roster was very, very far apart. I think a lot of people had faith in them, you know, all the way up until last week, really, where they got absolutely decimated in their series last week. And then people started saying, okay, well, maybe it's actually not going to come together. But they have so many veterans, so much success on this roster.
Oh, what a combo! The Tempered Fate set up the rest of the wombo from NRG right on top of Zven. No way that he was able to escape. Had both Flash and Barrier, but the sequencing was just marvelous from NRG.
Bro, how are objective bounties not on? That's my question.
You know what? I bet you it's Dragons. Yeah. Dragons play really heavily into it. So there are some weird games where, especially when it first came out, where you could be down a ton of gold and have multiple dragons, and they would have the bounties and weird stuff like that. So dragons are definitely valued very heavily as far as that is concerned, but they are active now finally. But I mean, you're down 9K. You're going to need a lot of bounties.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about the way that NRG pulled this off. They got Prio in all 3 lanes. Contractz did the early engage, and then they were so connected throughout the entire game. And I feel like that level of connection is the secret sauce that got them the Summer Split Championship last year and allowed them to beat G2 at Worlds and make it to quarterfinals. But that level of connection has been largely absent for the whole year. Yeah. So it almost felt like a fever dream, and you wonder if they could ever bring it back. And this is not proof that they can do it, but it's proof that it can still happen occasionally.
I always think back to the quote from Contractz in their VOD review content they did with NRG towards the tail end of summer, and how they were kind of joking around with Contractz, like, oh, why do you always push this limit? And it's like, well, I always feel like the best players in the world are always going to push the line as far as we can. And if we ever are synced up on that, then we we can be one of the best teams in the world. That is what allowed them to achieve international success against G2 in Worlds last year. And like you said, Jatt, it's been unfortunately absent for a majority of the year, but if they can continue building upon that, then this series can be theirs to claim.
Yeah, and also, like, I need to go back to this Rumble pick because it is just so abnormal for a pro team for during the regular season to have 5 games in a row on the same champion and then just keep picking it.
Would you say it is counter to logic?
It does actually. It's counter to your emotion. It's actually, no.
Kobe is stirring in the lounge right now.
So weirdly enough, it is very logical. Emotionally, you can't do it. Because usually you're just like, dude, we lose on this pick all the time. But if you're actually, Raafaa, to your point, talking about trying to be a top team, the top teams play Rumble.
Yep.
The top teams win with Rumble. You'd have to learn how to do this, otherwise you will fail. So maybe that's something that can explain why they just never stop picking this champion.
It's interesting you say that because I think that it's like, while it can be true that you sometimes do have to play the meta, we also have Impact, who's mostly just playing tanks all the time forever.
But he's won with Rumble.
But he's also the most successful LCS top laner ever.
Sure.
And it looks like Zven might be caught out again. It's the same story. Tempered Fate and the rest of the ensemble picks out the AD carry once again. NRG now have 5 men to 4, and they can look to turn this into a Baron play as,
Bye.
Isles is next on the menu, and now it's 5-3. Surely this is a Baron play.
Looking like it.
Well, Dhokla is going to stall for time, and the rest of NRG are going to see if they can collapse and bail out their top laner and preserve his perfect KDA. And just the threat of the collapse alone pushes both Spica and Licorice off, and now Licorice is in trouble. NRG are just picking up kills one after another across the map, and I don't think Spica's going to have enough time to get out with the recall.
Yeah, Huhi's too fast.
Huhi's just going to stall some time here. Donates the kill over to FBI. Does take a little bit more time, but NRG, they're playing with their food at this point. They don't even need the Dragon. They can now turn their attention towards the Baron.
Yeah, accelerating the Dragon, accelerating the Baron take right now. I actually did think they would just take the Dragon and then kind of slowly move towards the Baron, but knowing there's no smite steal right now, I think this is the smart play. They're just playing a great game.
Especially with how delayed the death was there for Spica. You know, he is going to be pretty desynced from the rest of the team, so they guarantee the Baron here pretty well. No one from Dignitas really even looking like they're going to take a peek until it's already going to be gone. NRG now 11,000 gold ahead, 23 minutes in. This one is looking like another quick closeout. This could easily end during this Baron buff if they play it well.
I kind of think Dig is going to try and get this Chemdrake. They'll get aced and the game will end.
I think they are going to get it.
But will they get aced?
No. I think they'll get it in the walk
And the walkout, they are pretty There's a Bard tunnel though, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Azir
Pick
just
it up,
kills things
Huhi.
pretty fast, but we'll see
Ult
if
that
they can get
Drake.
fast enough.
Ult it!
Ult it.
Well, yeah, they got the Drake.
All right. They don't even care. They're going to try to catch Zven again. He dodges the Tempered Fate, and he flashes away from the Glacial Prison. This time, the combo is dodged out by Dignitas' AD carry, and they manage to escape back to the safety of their base.
The question is, though, now do you just get dove and the game ends, right? Because Zven has no flash. Now it's pretty easy for them to look to force something. And Spica is not with them. Spica is going for one of these long-distance plays.
There's an arrow on the Dhokla. He gets cleansed by the Mikhail's Crucible. Licorice is trying to separate the 2 AD carries with the suppress on the Impale. Spica is sending it into the backline, but the Equalizer is now going to separate the competition. Good shuffle from Jensen, but I don't think it's enough, y'all. NRG are still just cooking Dignitas alive, and the curtain call will find a couple more bullets. The 4th one doesn't hit, but Spica is blinking low on HP and doesn't have a way back to the fountain. He's getting corralled by both Palafox and Huhi. But then maybe he can look for at least one more kill. NRG, they're having fun with it. They do not get the quite unhittable perfect game with 21-0. They do give over a kill, but you know what? NRG, they get stomped in the game 1. They're going to stomp them right back in game 2, and the series is tied 1-1.
21-1 is absolutely a destruction of Dignitas here in game number 2. 2 extremely one-sided games, 1 apiece for each team to kick this one off. And now the question is, can Dignitas bounce back in the same way that NRG did after the first one?
Just shake it off. Short memories, long careers, that's what these players have to have moving through the rest of this series. It's the next 2 or 3 that's going to decide whose season gets to continue, and it is literally anybody's game right now because of how disparate both of these 2 games were.
Yeah, with that, we're going to head on over to the LCS Lounge to break Game 2 down.
go.
Welcome to the movie theater. What kind of movie are we watching?
Hanging out. We're watching
Deadpool?
a movie of pushing lanes. No, it's way more boring than that.
Raz wants to watch Wolverine and Deadpool.
I have it on the brain. I want to watch it at some point.
Pull that thing up. We just keep seeing stuff.
So we're gonna start up. Ooh, this is a great state right here, right?
Oh my God, 3 arrows.
Yeah, Contractz is
arrows.
gonna go there, and we'll play it out.
I noticed something similar with all these arrows. They're all pointing into Dignitas territory.
Dignitas territory. Look at that. We love pushing lanes, as we're going to see. And here comes Contractz.
The NRG invasion.
This is what allows him to come in and just really harass Spica. This is great, honestly. This is just like, I kind of want to throw confetti like over the mini map. Yeah. Like, woo, such a good lane state.
Whoa,
Woo,
Spica's hating his life. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what sets up, right? Because we were talking about NRG's success with Rumble hasn't been great thus far, even when the pick has been incredibly strong. This game, we finally see them execute on this.
Let me tell you, playing League of Legends with 3 pushing lanes is the best way to play League of Legends.
Yeah.
I love that way to play League of Legends. And NRG with this draft, yes, it is. The series has been about execution, but this draft was also really nicely done. Standard lanes, pushing lanes, and as we just highlighted there, you had the roaming bard, so it wasn't even just Contractz ganks. With all your winning lanes, you get the freedom for Bard to go around and get some ganks off too. Can we pause? And then you get top laners going for ganks too. Dhokla using his pushing lane
Circle
to
that
go
Rumble.
I can't because it's being blocked.
Oh,
I
true.
feel like,
It's blocked on her
I'm
screen.
getting trolled.
Give him some confetti or something.
Yeah.
Or something,
Woo!
something
This is something we used to see Dhokla do more often, right? Before
This is something we should see most winning top laners. Your level 6 timer, go bottom on your teleport timer after you push your wave. And the key is you free yourself up to go for a gank. So we saw junglers going for invades. We saw support going for ganks, top laners going for ganks, and then you just teleport back to your top wave because you are winning your lane and pushing in, and it affords you all this freedom. And that's why playing with 3 pushing lanes just feels so good.
And honestly, this reminds me of NRG at their peak. You get a play from of course, like Bard to go top side. Dhokla's coming down bot lane, making the play happen, TPing top. This is an active NRG. Sure, they had the tools to be able to do so, but they are working through it, and this was a spectacular game.
All right, Emily, you're not allowed to draw any more arrows. Now,
Why?
you're allowed to draw explosions
I'm
or
only allowed
lightning
to
bolts.
I have fire.
Okay,
Fireworks. You can draw fire here, because that man was on fire this game.
Well, I feel like fire is usually a bad thing.
Where is
like,
it? Where is
I
it?
like the confetti.
Yeah, we're back to the confetti. But yes, this was kind of crazy. And Dignitas could not pause at any point. Every time they tried to defend a play from happening, as you could see here, they
You
were
told me I
shot.
couldn't draw arrows. So.
Yeah.
Now we're drawing
I mean,
shots.
you're a legit artist, though. So I was thinking you're going to draw something else with the
What,
pen.
like, oh, we're on fire here, right?
See,
like,
that's pretty good. There we go.
I like that.
Anyway, I think the big thing for me is off of their pushing lanes, Contractz was able to get off that really good invade. They had good map control, and more importantly, when Dhokla was able to get ahead, he contributing actively to plays. So yeah, now we've had 2 very one-sided stops. Where do we go next?
Game number 1, NRG lane swap, and they almost destroy themselves in multiple.
This is Raz, not me.
Wait, what?
I feel like you're
Can
doing...
they even see goats? They can't see that.
They better
So
see the goat.
Yeah.
You can't draw
They
when
can
we
see it.
take...
They can see them.
They can see them.
Is it actually fixed?
I think
Raz,
everyone
you're
can see that
essentially
he's the
making
goat.
like a Palafox, like one of those K-pop videos.
Yeah, fan cam.
Yeah, you're making a Palafox fan cam right
He is
now.
my goat.
So last weekend they couldn't see it. I need
it, man.
everyone
We
in
changed it.
chat. I need
I was
everyone
trying
in
to draw
chat
a
to
crown
assure
on
me.
his head, but he
Bro,
didn't.
we see it, man. Get past it.
I don't trust you. I don't trust producers. I only trust chat. Chat are my only friends.
All right, the chat's on our side.
Raz was dirty in my couch.
I'm dirtying your couch now.
Emily's dirty in the couch now.
None of us have manners.
I only trust chat.
And honestly, taking a look at this series for me, yes, you can kind of see the demeanor from Dignitas. it's been a stomp from one side to the next. I think the draft's pretty important, and also just being able to recognize when you're getting kind of, because the Bard movement from top side, that was not expected whatsoever. So now they should be pretty aware of, hey, if bot lane's getting a base off, and Bard for sure is going to want to look for a roam like that, just be aware and alert and calling that out early.
Yeah, and same thing for top laners. You know, when Licorice is losing top lane to the Rumble, hey, Rumble is in base right now. Rumble has a roam timer too. Calling out roam timers in standard lanes is something that you need to do. In the lane swap, they completely demolished NRG, but in the standard lanes, Dignitas were unable to track any of the people with the pushing lanes.
Yeah. We'll see how draft goes in game 3. We're tied 1-1. I flip-flopped for nothing, but now I need to stick to my Dig prediction.
You better.
Game 3 is coming up on the other side of the break.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Rumble and I can
yeah, we can sneak.
try to
wolves.
sneak 2 little wolves. Not bad.
Okay.
I can play to protect bot if worst case.
I'll be top here.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks not bad.
I'm here.
Looks not
Go
bad.
back, go back, go back.
Look by. Nice job.
It's really fine trade here. Just hug down.
Nice. Yeah. Fighting bot. Rumble's bot. Rumble's bot. Hit bot.
Got no flash.
Think the tower right now? Oh, I'm gonna ult him. Maybe. No.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
You guys look like you have it. Okay, so
okay, wait for it. Okay, I will W. I will W once here.
Too.
Okay. I'm tanking.
Yeah. I have
One
shield
more.
for you. Yeah, that's it. Nice guy. Yeah, he's alone, I think.
I'm on a ward.
No flash on this guy. No flash on this guy.
I can lean
Has
into
ult?
bot first again.
No, yeah, has ult. No flash. Okay. Nice. He's dead.
You will see Norda's moving too, okay?
Oh, stop this Q. No Q.
Ash
Burns
not
flash.
showing on mid.
No flash. That's it. We can't go more.
I have ult in 8.
Hey, we can dive on this tower.
Yeah, I have ult. Yeah,
I can ulti too.
I will start with R, okay?
Okay.
Coming. If they hit, I think we could look for arrow.
Yeah, I'm looking for arrow right now.
Yeah, you can look for a scoop maybe.
It's Sejuani. He's in
I'm here.
between.
We have a really deep TP flank, so if they keep going, I want to look.
Okay.
No side, no TP.
They're going.
I'm TPing.
I can only hit Sej. I can only hit Sej, okay? Kill Sej.
It's not good.
It's not good now.
Like a Rumble?
Yeah.
Turret's gone.
I have nothing.
We kill?
No, nothing.
Run.
Sej no flash. Corki flash.
Front. I got stunned after.
Oh.
Let's get out after.
Yeah, can you guys?
It's just this guy.
Yeah, well,
just
like,
this guy.
we
Dragon,
should base,
dragon. No, help me on dragon first.
I think I'll base. You guys can. Right?
I will help.
Ward here.
Okay. Watching mid, guys.
Yeah, watching.
Right timing, one.
Baron?
Nash,
Let's go Baron.
Nash.
Let's go Baron. Who's our turn?
I don't take damage from it, so just let them come in.
Yeah, our turn is literally just like running at them with. Yeah. Look at this.
Yeah, let's Q.
I don't see buy still, guys. Okay, it's fine.